There are moments in life when God steps into our story and begins to move pieces we did not expect him to touch. People leave, relationships end, friendships fade, and suddenly we find ourselves standing in a chapter of life we never planned to write. We wonder why God allowed this loss, this separation, this shift that feels so heavy on the heart. And yet, in the quietness of that struggle, in the tears you cry when no one sees, God whispers a truth so powerful, so transformative, that it can change the way you view every departure. Divine removal is divine preparation. When God removes someone from your life, he does not do it out of anger. He does not do it because he wants to punish you. He does not do it because you have failed. He does it because he is preparing you for something greater, something deeper, something he could not release into your life while you were still tied to the people he removed. Many times, the greatest spiritual promotions come wrapped in painful separations. You pray for God to bless you, to elevate you, to expand your territory, to give you the next level. But what we often forget is that blessings require room, elevation requires space, greater requires separation. And before God takes you forward, he must remove the things, and yes, the people, who will stand in the way of your growth. Not everyone who starts with you is meant to stay with you. Some people are only assigned to a season, not a lifetime. Some relationships were meant to teach you, not travel with you. Some friendships were only there for a chapter, not the whole book. And when their time is up, when their purpose in your story has been completed, God gently moves them out of your path so he can continue writing your next chapter. Think about this. A seed cannot grow until it is separated from the fruit it once lived inside. A butterfly cannot fly until it is separated from the cocoon that once protected it. A child cannot mature until they are separated from certain comforts. And in the same way, you cannot reach the fullness of your destiny until God separates you from the people who can no longer walk with you into the next season. You may not understand why they left. You may feel the sting of their silence. You may replay the conversations, the memories, the moments you shared, but God sees the things you do not see. He hears the conversations you were never meant to hear. He knows the thoughts people hide behind polite words. He knows the hearts behind the smiles. And because he loves you, he removes what you are not strong enough to walk away from. Divine removal is divine rescue. There are people who would have crushed your spirit if they had stayed. There are voices that would have weakened your faith if they had remained close. There are relationships that would have distracted you from your calling, delayed your growth, and detoured your destiny. And so, in his mercy, God said, "This cannot stay, this cannot continue, this cannot follow you into the next season." Sometimes God will close a door you are still trying to knock on. He will shut down a connection you are desperately trying to revive. He will allow distance where you want closeness. He will bring a separation where you're begging for restoration. But that's because he sees what you cannot see, the cost of keeping the wrong people in your life. Some people carry jealousy disguised as friendship. Some carry discouragement disguised as advice. Some carry manipulation disguised as love. Some carry spiritual heaviness disguised as emotional support. God knows the influence they have on your spirit. God knows the impact they have on your peace. And when he begins to elevate you, he will not allow those influences to go with you. There are blessings that require a pure environment. There are callings that require emotional maturity. There are breakthroughs that require spiritual focus. So God removes the clutter, the distraction, the noise, even when that noise comes in the form of people you once cared about deeply. Think back to the times in your life when you felt abandoned, when someone walked away without explanation, when someone you trusted suddenly changed, when someone you leaned on was no longer there. You felt broken, confused, disappointed. But later, when you stepped into a new opportunity, a new spiritual level, a new peace of mind, you realized something. If they had stayed, you would have stayed too. If they were still connected to you, you would have never moved forward. If God had let them remain in your life, you would have missed the greater He was preparing you for. People's departure does not stop God's plan, it advances it. There are times when God must isolate you to elevate you. He must separate you to prepare you. He must prune you to grow you. And pruning, my friend, never feels pleasant. It feels like loss, like emptiness, like something is being taken away. But in reality, something is being made ready. The gardener does not prune the branches because he hates the plant. He prunes because he sees potential. He prunes because he knows more fruit is coming. He prunes because cutting away the unnecessary is the only way to unlock the abundance hidden inside the vine. And in the same way, God prunes your relationships because He sees the fruit your life is meant to bear. Let me tell you something that will set your heart free. God is never surprised by who leaves you. He knew every person who would walk into your life and every person who would walk out. He knows the ones who are temporary and the ones who are permanent. He knows the ones who help you grow and the ones who hold you back. He is never caught off guard. You might be, but He isn't, because He is the author of your story, the architect of your future, and the designer of your destiny. Divine removal is a sign you are getting close to something greater. When God is about to shift your life, He starts removing the things that cannot survive where He is taking you. The higher He lifts you, the fewer people can fit. The deeper your calling becomes, the tighter your circle must be. The more God refines you, the less room you have for relationships that drain your strength. Some people were comfortable with you as long as you stayed at their level, but when God began to grow you, they grew uncomfortable. Your maturity threatened their complacency, your discipline exposed their laziness, your faithfulness highlighted their inconsistency, your hunger for God made their indifference look empty, and instead of rising up with you, they chose to distance themselves from you. Their leaving is not your loss, it is your liberation. There are people who must exit so that you can enter. There are relationships that must end so that you can begin again. There are connections that must break so that the weight of others does not break you. And when God removes someone, it means their chapter in your life is complete. You can thank God for what they brought and release them without bitterness. Some of the people who walked away would have become a hindrance to your future. Some would have hindered your spiritual growth. Some would have kept you emotionally stuck. Some would have prevented you from hearing God clearly. And God knew that if He didn't remove them, their presence would eventually destroy your peace and derail your purpose. So instead of asking God, why did they leave? Start asking, Lord, what are you preparing me for? Because if He took something away, He is preparing to give you something better. If He moved someone out of your life, He is preparing someone far more aligned with your destiny. If He closed one door, it's because He is about to open a bigger one. What God removes is never greater than what God will replace it with. The pain of removal is temporary, but the blessing of preparation is permanent. The loneliness of separation is momentary, but the strength it produces will last for a lifetime. God uses these moments to refine your faith, deepen your trust, and position you for blessings you are not yet ready to carry. Sometimes you must lose people to find yourself. Sometimes you must walk alone to walk with God. Sometimes what you call rejection is actually protection. And when God is protecting you, it is always for the sake of something divine. Look at the lives of those God uses powerfully. Every one of them experienced seasons of separation before stepping into seasons of elevation. Every one of them walked through loss before walking into calling. Every one of them felt the sting of being alone before feeling the strength of being chosen. You are in that same process. You are not being abandoned. You are being prepared. You are not being rejected. You are being refined. You are not losing. You are being positioned. You are not left behind. You are being lifted up. The people who left were not tied to your destiny. The people who drifted away were not meant to stay. The people who could not handle your growth were never meant to grow with you, and God knows exactly who belongs in your life and who does not. Trust His decisions when they do not match your desires. The same God who removed them will replace them with better. The same God who closed one chapter will write a more beautiful one. The same God who cut away the wrong people will send the right people, those who will walk with you, believe with you, grow with you, and support the calling God placed upon you. So lift your head, dry your tears. Straighten your shoulders, you are not empty. You are being made ready, you are not alone. You are being aligned, you are not forgotten. You are being prepared for divine increase. And one day you will look back and say, "Thank you, Lord, for every person you removed, because you were making room for everything greater you plan to give." Amen. Separation comes before elevation. It is one of the hardest spiritual truths to accept, yet one of the most powerful to understand. When God begins to lift you, He often begins first by removing things, people, habits, and environments that cannot go with you into the next season. Elevation is not just about blessing, it is about transformation, and transformation requires separation. There comes a moment in every believer's life when God says, "This season is over. This chapter is closed. This person's assignment in your life has finished." And the human heart struggles with that. We want to hold on. We want to fix what God is trying to free us from. We want to stay comfortable in a place where God is calling us to be courageous. But every time you choose comfort over calling, you delay your elevation. God separates you not because you are unworthy, but because you are becoming ready. He separates you not to punish you, but to prepare you. You are being positioned for something that your old surroundings, your old friendships, your old mindset cannot support. Separation is God's way of clearing the runway before your takeoff. When a plane is about to rise, the runway must be cleared. Nothing can stand in its path. No obstruction, no distraction, no unnecessary weight. The runway must be clean because elevation requires space. In the same way, God clears your life, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, so that nothing blocks your rising, and sometimes that clearing feels like loss. Sometimes it feels like confusion. Sometimes it feels like God is taking too much away, but in reality, He is making room for the very thing you've been praying for. You asked God for growth, but growth requires pruning. You asked God for strength, but strength requires stretching. You asked God for blessings, but blessings require boundaries. You asked God for elevation, but elevation requires separation. And so God begins to remove people who only loved you when you were weak, but resented you when you grew strong. He removes people who were comfortable with you staying at the bottom because your rising would threaten their insecurity. He removes people who clapped for your struggles, but were silent during your successes. These are not losses, these are divine protections. Some people are meant for your past, not your future. Their season in your life was purposeful, but not permanent. They helped you learn something, feel something, experience something. They were assigned to a chapter, not the entire story. And if you try to keep chapter, people in your destiny chapters, they become roadblocks instead of blessings. God sees conversations you didn't hear. He sees intentions you couldn't detect. He sees the jealousy behind the smile, the bitterness behind the hug, the resentment behind the encouragement, and out of His mercy, He separates you. Because if He didn't, their presence would delay your elevation, drain your spirit, weaken your focus, and distract your calling. Separation feels painful at first because the human heart is built for connection. Losing someone you trusted, someone you loved, someone you expected to stay, that cuts deep. But spiritual elevation has a cost, and sometimes the price is the emotional comfort of old relationships. You cannot walk into the future holding hands with the past. When God is ready to elevate you, He will strip away what no longer aligns with His purpose for your life. He will remove the noise so you can hear His voice. He will remove the wrong influences so you can grow without interference. He will remove the people who cannot celebrate you so He can surround you with those who will. He will remove the distractions that kept you stuck so He can position you for growth. Sometimes God allows people to walk away without explanation because the explanation would only add pain, not clarity. Instead of giving you answers, He gives you peace. Instead of giving you reasons, He gives you rest. Instead of giving you closure from them, He gives you comfort from Him. And when God's comfort enters, you begin to see that separation was never abandonment, it was alignment. The most powerful spiritual shifts often happen in the most silent seasons. You may feel alone, you may feel misunderstood, you may feel like life is shrinking, but in reality, God is narrowing your path so He can raise your position. You are not being reduced, you are being refined. The narrow path is never crowded because elevation is never shared with everyone. God often isolates before He elevates. Isolation is not punishment, it is preparation. Moses was separated before he became a leader. David was separated before he became a king. Joseph was separated before he became a ruler. Jesus was separated before he stepped into his public calling. Every significant elevation in Scripture was preceded by divine separation. Why? Because separation teaches dependence. Separation strengthens faith. Separation breaks pride. Separation exposes the heart. Separation removes distractions. Separation sharpens vision. Separation produces clarity. Separation builds spiritual maturity. When God is preparing you for elevation, He strips away everything that could sabotage the future He is building for you. He removes the voices that drown out your purpose. He removes the relationships that weaken your identity. He removes the habits that limit your potential. He removes the places that drain your spirit. Every removal is intentional. Every subtraction is strategic. Every separation is divine. You cannot elevate while holding unnecessary weight. God will never let you carry baggage into a destiny designed for freedom. He will not let you take bitterness into blessing. He will not let you take insecurity into leadership. He will not let you take unbelief into miracles. He will not let you take brokenness into breakthrough. Elevation requires shedding, and shedding requires separation. There are times when God removes people not because they are bad, but because they are not built for where He's taking you. They may love you, but they can't walk the next level with you. They may support you, but they can't understand the divine shift happening inside you. They may care for you, but they can't handle the weight of your calling, and sometimes it's not their fault. Their capacity simply does not match your destiny, and that is okay. When God takes someone out of your life, it is always because He intends to bring someone better aligned with your purpose. Every empty space becomes an entry point for something greater. Every loss becomes an invitation for higher blessing. Every goodbye becomes a setup for a better hello. There is no elevation without separation. There is no promotion without pruning. There is no growth without change. There is no breakthrough without letting go. So if you find yourself in a season where certain people are drifting away, certain relationships are ending, certain circles are closing, don't panic. Don't fight it. Don't force it. Instead, trust it. Trust that God is moving. Trust that God is protecting. Trust that God is aligning. Trust that God is preparing you for something bigger than you imagined. When God separates you, He is placing you on the path of your personal elevation. He is preparing you for rooms you have not entered, blessings you have not seen, opportunities you have not expected. And when the moment of elevation comes, and it will make sense why certain people could not join you. It will make sense why certain seasons had to end. It will make sense why God closed certain doors. It will make sense why God pulled you away. You will look back and say, Lord, thank you for separating me. Thank you for removing what I couldn't let go of. Thank you for protecting me from what I thought I wanted. Thank you for preparing me for something greater. And in that moment, you will understand the truth you couldn't see before. The separation was not loss, it was love. The separation was not rejection, it was protection. The separation was not the end, it was the beginning of your elevation.